It's been quite a sunny week, so yin is a really nice practice for any time of the year. I love yin, so I could just like name any day, any hour that yin would be good for. Any ailment, oh, you need some yin with that. But especially when we're coming into summer. So warmer weather, we can obviously feel the heat. And subconsciously or consciously, we might kind of feel like we've got to get going. Like we got to get up and get our motivation going, which of course is great. But also we need to take this time to rest. So if yin was water, which it is, yang is fire. And we want to meet those two in the middle and find a bit of balance. So you might close the eyes or soften the gaze. That's entirely up to you. Everything in the practice is an invitation. So honestly, if you feel that actually this is really comfortable and I just want to spend an hour here, no judgment. Whatever you feel is best for you. We've all had a different day, a different week, a different life. So see what you feel is best for you. And if you're not familiar with yin, just give you a sort of quick bit of info about it. So rather than spending seconds or a couple of breaths that we might do in our hatha practice or ashtanga flow, that kind of thing, we're looking at spending minutes in shapes in our yin practice. So if you enjoy a hatha style practice, flow, like I said, ashtanga, iyengar, anything that's a little bit more energetic, this is a really good balance. So more energetic practices give us strength, repetition, which the body and the mind needs. This gives us a bit of peace, a bit of rest, and more so focuses on flexibility. So we're moving deeper into the body rather than just the surface level. So we're going to spend perhaps another minute and a half here. That gives us plenty of time to arrive. I'm just noticing how your body is feeling. So steer away from criticism or judgment if you notice that that comes in. We can be quite critical of ourselves sometimes. But just notice what's there in the physical body. Travel our attention then up to our mind. So yin is definitely an opportunity to kind of get more into the mind, whether that's a good thing, a bad thing, an in-between thing, who knows. But notice for you what's going on in your mind. Busyness, quite quiet, stillness, or somewhere in between. And if you feel that your mind is quite busy and you have a tendency, which this is 100% me, hence why I came to yoga, one of the reasons, to really kind of like latch on to the thoughts that come in. So I'm quite a catastrophizer. If you find like a thought comes in and I'm running away with it a little bit, see if you can draw your awareness back to your body. So maybe it's the drop of the shoulders, the expansion of the chest, so anything about your body, draw the awareness back there. And let's start to bring the soles of the feet onto the earth. Let the knees knock inwards and the feet step out a little bit wider. And then we'll bring our awareness to the breath. So again, just this practice of noticing. What do we notice about the breath? You could bring your hand onto the belly. You feel that kind of feeling the sensation of breath movement might help. What do you notice about the breath? And equally, if you notice that the mind becomes quite busy in the practice, or it just switches off or on, as the case may be, to something outside of the practice, you could draw your awareness back to your breath. Just simply being aware of breathing in and breathing out. As we breathe in, this sense of expansion, perhaps a little bit of lifting, rising. And as you breathe out, where the relaxation and surrender happens, and also could be where the release mentally happens. So sometimes, just like a big sigh or just like a, oh, can make us feel like, oh yes, let that go. So don't be afraid to, be bold with your breath. Breathing in through the nose if you can. You could breathe out through the nose or out through a gap in the lips. Whatever suits you may well change from shape to shape. We'll take a couple more moments here and then start to slowly move. And the way that we come out of our positions or our shapes in Yin is really as important as the way we move into them. So there's absolutely no rush. Like, I could say anything about Yin, it's just the slower the better. If you don't want to move from here at all, you don't have to move from here. But pushing the hands or the arms down into the earth, just start to tuck your chin towards your chest a little bit and then lift your way away from your bolster. Nicely. And we're going to come into a seated position. And we'll bring our bolster now in front of us instead. So to kind of counteract the back bend that we've just been in, I'm going to move into a forward fold. So loads of different options. If you want to be in Sukhasana with your legs, so cross-leg position, go for it. If you want to take your legs out a bit wider, if you want to take your legs a bit close together, it doesn't matter because we're going to forward fold. I'm going to take the forward fold in just a really kind of rounded way. So usually in a lot of shapes, right, we're like, don't do this with your spine. Like we don't want to sit like this, but we are going to. So this is okay. This is a different way of exploring the spine. So you can rest the head if you want to on your bolster. If you don't and your neck feels okay, you can let the head be heavy. And the spine is going to round and it's going to really open up through that back of the body. So always kind of use the first maybe 10, 20 seconds to decide what feels good. So if you want to use blocks, you could use your blocks to rest the head on. So have a little play around with like, is this going to be okay for me for the next 3 minutes? I'm going to be here. So you can stack up the props that you have. If you feel like you need a little bit of help, then just let me know. When you feel like you've got into the position that is going to be okay for you for the next 2 and a bit minutes, nice deep breath in and breathe out to surrender. Unclenching the teeth and the jaw. Softening the brow. Softening the shoulders. Right down, arms into the very tips of the fingers. And of course, depending on the position that you chose to take with the lower body, might be opening out and expanding through lower body as well. So that's part of seated forward fold. So we're moving and shifting the weight forwards, which helps to expand through lower body. We've got another minute here. And perhaps you feel like you found what we could call Goldilocks position. And it's just right. It's like, yeah, this feels okay. Not going to say that it always feels like easy or comfortable. So this isn't restorative yoga. This is yin. So we're looking for a bit of sensation, but it feels okay. Okay. If, on the other hand, within our last minute of any of our shapes this evening, you feel like, maybe there's a little bit more softness I could bring to it. Nice deep breath in. As you breathe out, see if there's any more softness there. If you feel that actually, maybe I went in a little bit too quick, too fast here with the position I'm in, you can always draw back. So we're not stuck or committed to anything. We do what feels best for us. Once again, I'm going to move out of this in a really mindful way. So if you've got your head resting right on your bolster, you might want to just grab hold of the bolster. You could roll up through the spine or lift the gaze first, just see whatever feels right for you. And just come to a seated position for a moment. You might have the eyes closed or a soft gaze. See if you can find a little bit of length through the spine. Taking a couple of breaths. And then slowly, in whatever way is best for you, we're going to make our way onto our hands and knees. So perhaps you just drop onto one side and bring the body round. You can always support the hands with blocks, with your bolster. You can support your knees with your blanket. Spreading the fingers a little bit. And just for a moment, kind of finding your way here. So just having a pad with the hands and knees. In a typical tabletop, we'd say shoulders roughly over the wrists, hips over the knees, but whatever feels comfortable for you. As you breathe in, the belly starts to drop down, the heart space starts to shine forwards, and we draw the shoulders back slightly, so into our cow position. As you breathe out, a little push into the earth, spine arches to the sky, chin comes to the chest. And just continue with 3 or 4 more like that with your breath. You can soften right off into the elbows if you wish. So again, you know, kind of make it your own. It could be a very subtle movement, or it may be a little bit more expressive. And then eventually coming back to our tabletop position. Just pop back and take hold of your props here. So the 2 blocks that are behind you, and then we're going to bring them forwards and bring our hands on top of them. Right leg comes all the way around to the side and steps forward. So take it over to the right edge of the mat. It gives you a nice bit of space to work with. And knee and heel are roughly in line. See how your back knee feels. So for some people, having your hip and your knee in line might be too much pressure. You can always slide that knee back a little bit. And one thing you can do here is just pop your bolster by that left thigh so that when we start to move forwards a little bit, you've got something that's going to just stop the movement there. So take a breath in, just gazing upwards. And as you breathe out, just start to let the body sink down. So at this point, you could take your props a little bit higher. Maybe you're on forearms. You might find that naturally the right toes turn out to the right side. So try not to kind of push it if they don't. The knee might come slightly ahead of the ankle. So all of these things are more things that naturally happen, not things that we force. Using these first few breaths, these first few seconds to just think, it's going to be okay for me. I'm going to spend 3 minutes here. How is this going to be in 2 minutes' time? Once you feel that you're settled, nice deep breath in, deep breath out. Releasing any tension from the face, a little bit of softness into the shoulders. And perhaps the eyes gently close. So this position, it's called lizard or dragon, depending on sort of where you've learned your yoga, I guess. This is when I did my yin training years ago, we were asked what's your favorite position in yin? What's your most hated? And this is both for me. So this is like, oh yeah, some days this is, yeah, get me here, and this is what I need. This is where life feels good. Other days it's like, why? This is torture. Why was this lunge for 3 minutes invented? So, you know, we don't necessarily always have really positive feelings about the shapes we're in. But knowing that, you know, there is a purpose behind them. So yoga isn't just pretzels and pretty things. So this is movement of energy, especially in yin. This is time to slow down. And what yin is very good at is seeking out stagnation. So that could be from physically, how we move or don't move. It could also be emotionally. So there's no denying that body, emotions, mind are linked. And we might be holding something somewhere in the body. It just needs a little bit of time, a little bit of space, a little bit of opening to allow it to dissipate. That last minute here. So maybe you'll find as you are, maybe you need to draw back. Maybe you feel like there's space for you to surrender further. And everyone's expression is, of course, going to be different. That's the beauty of it. Nice and slowly pressing into the props of the earth, just starting to lift our gaze forwards. We'll turn those right toes back towards the top of the mat. I'm just going to move out in a little bit of a counter pose. So it's up to you whether you have your blocks higher, lower. That's going to depend on length of arms, and we can take them with us. So take a breath in, tuck the back toes, and as you breathe out, just start to come to sit that seat onto the back heel. You might flex that front foot toes towards the sky. And as you exhale, just walking back into our lunge. So take that 3 more times. So that sit back on the foot might be like, oh, yeah. My partner hates it. So it's like, you make me do that horrible toe thing. Like, it's for your own good. So there are a lot of acupressure points in your feet. So it really is for our own good. And also, you know, we spend a lot of time in socks, in shoes. So getting into the sole of the foot, have a nice little stretch And then we're going to take it back to our tabletop position. So however you make it there. Extend that right leg all the way back behind you. Just a little push back into that right heel. And then the same with the left side. Just having a nice stretch out of the legs. In between that, we're going to come for a forward fold. So taking your props a little bit higher. I'm just going to start to make our way into our forward fold. So just stepping our way there. Bit of softness in the knees. Spine is rounded. We don't take 3 minutes in a forward fold because it's quite a heavy inversion. If it serves you, you could stack your props and just pop your foreheads there. So again, we've all got kind of different lengths and strengths of body. And we're going to take a minute here. So it's really here about just, can we just kind of let the body be heavy? Back is helping us to stretch out the hamstrings. Hamstrings helping us to just really open up into the back. If you feel a bit dizzy at any point, just lift the gaze up halfway. So each shape doesn't suit every person, of course. We're halfway there already. This is the only standing position or half standing position in the whole of the practice. Being mindful how we make our way to the earth. So perhaps we start to lift the gaze, separate the blocks. We're just going to step our right foot back and drop that knee down. So we've got the left foot forward, ready to move into our left side. It comes over to the outside edge of the mat. We position that back knee however we feel is good for us. Relax the foot. Take a breath in, prepare a little bit of lift. And as we breathe out, coming down into that lunge position. So we're going to spend 3 minutes on this side. It may be a completely different story on this side. So we do normally have a dominant side. That could be dependent on multiple things. So that could be dependent on the kind of job that we do, whether we're right or left-handed in the first place. Injury often changes your dominant side. So just using that first bit of time, grabbing anything that you need. Once you feel that you're where it's good for you, deep breath in, breathe it out. And at any point, you can come back to that practice of noticing. So it's actually one that's quite benefited me in the morning and the evening, not even as part of a yoga shape, just kind of like wake up. What do I notice about my body? How's it feeling today? What do I notice about where my mind's at? What do I notice about my breath? You could write it down if you're kind of a journaling person. And then the same before you go to bed or in the middle of your day. Just taking time to pause, reset, notice. Halfway there. steadily. As we breathe in, we start to lift up. When we're there, we breathe out. Just in your own time, tucking the back toes, inhale, and as you exhale, that same movement. So it's almost like a half Hanumanasana, a half split position. So just a couple of times, walking it forwards and backwards. Be mindful of that back knee. So we're kind of rolling a little bit on that back knee. And then popping our blocks down onto the ground. Let's take that front foot back. I'm going to come into a child's pose from here. So it's totally up to you whether you bring knees together or knees apart. What I would say is try and sort of really negotiate your seat to your heels first. And then you've got plenty of props. So whether you prefer the blocks, whether you prefer to kind of hug onto the bolster, you could be on one side of the head, or you could be on forehead. So have a little explore what works. If this is not a good position for you, nothing to be shy or embarrassed about, then just give me a wave and we can find something else. There's plenty of alternatives. So quite often called the resting pose or like resting child's pose. And you know, if it's comfortable for your body, it is restful, right? If it's not that comfortable, then of course we're going to focus on the discomfort. Once you feel that you're in the position that works for you, take that nice deep breath in, breathe out. It's kind of like we're bowing down towards Mother Earth. And it's a nice position for spring. So spring is linked to Ajna, our energy center between the brows. So, I mean, this is a nice position if it's comfortable for you for any time, but a good one to stimulate Ajna. So we're kind of bowing down towards that third eye. Offers the qualities of intuition, inner knowing, connection. And if you turned onto one side of the head or face and it's comfortable, just switch it onto the opposite side. If it's not comfortable, then, you know, absolutely do what you need to do for comfort. Each exhale breath, just a really lovely opportunity to release into the body, into those unlikely areas of tension, but also to release breath, to release anything that might be in the mind. And as with any of our shapes so far, just be really mindful how you bring yourself away from the child's pose. So just slowly unfurling. And find a position that's comfortable for you seated from there. So it may be that you just pop back into a straddle. It might be that you prefer to sit with legs crossed or extended. So whatever works for you. And just closing the eyes or softening the gaze there. And come back to that experience of noticing. So what we notice in the body. Mind. And breath. And gently dropping the chin down towards the chest. So let there be heaviness to the head. As you breathe in, expanding a little bit, lifting the chin towards the sky, drawing the shoulders back slightly. On your next exhale, just let the right ear come over towards the right shoulder. So we're not pushing, forcing, just whatever kind of way it relaxes and softens there is fine. As we breathe in, come back to center. And as we breathe out, we just rock it over to the left. And as we breathe in, we come back to center and take a breath out. So if you want to, there's no pressure. Is anyone allergic to lavender? Before we open lavender bottles, no. If you just don't like the smell of lavender, we have rosemary as well. It's really strange. I used to hate the smell of lavender before I went into holistic health. And I always think maybe I just smell it so much because it's such a big scent that I was like, oh, I'm just going to like it now. But if you want to, you've got a little bottle of oil. So just squeeze a little pipette. You don't have to, so there's no pressure to do anything. Into the hands and just give it a rub between the palms. So feel a little bit of warmth start to build in the hands. And start to smell it. And then perhaps opening out the palms close to the face. Just taking a nice deep breath in. Moving the hands away slightly and breathing out. And you're welcome if you want to massage on any bits of skin that are bare that you've got. If you want to gently just come underneath the jawline. So be sort of soft and sensitive wherever you go. Whenever we're searching for any kind of acupressure points, we have acupressure, like we're not kind of stabbing, we're more smoothing those areas. And the interesting thing is, the more we kind of, I know we're all like, oh, I don't have time for any of this, well, we've got time now, so it's okay. But the more we explore this, you might kind of feel like, oh, actually, like there's a little sensitive point there. So in Chinese medicine, there's a ritual called abhyanga, which is warm or hot oil, often on the feet because of acupressure points, but it can be all around the legs. You could go towards the back of your neck. So jawline and neck are in general quite emotive areas, anger, tension, tightness. And then when you are ready, if you come to lie down with your head towards me, so you might want to bring your bolster, pop it behind the knees. You could have your blanket if you want to really snuggle down with that. The slimmer block is okay as a little pillow. I mean, it's not what I would choose for my bed, but it's okay. So anything that you want or need, have that with you. If you want the eye pillow, and just settle yourself down onto the back of the body. An option here to take a little spinal twist as our last movement. But if you've come to lie down and you really just feel like, oh yeah, this is nice, I'm going to be here now, totally up to you. If you feel like you want to take a spinal twist, we've got the bolster there, so this is more gentle. It's going to support the knees. So soles of the feet come down to the earth. And we just press lightly through the feet to scoot our bum over to the left a little bit and let the knees drop to the right. Lovely. If you've got space, which we have, which is lovely this evening, you could take the arms out a little bit wider. Just let the gaze, the head drift in whatever direction feels natural for you. Maybe the eyes gently close. So using these first couple of moments just to find comfort in that spinal twist. We're going to take a halfy-halfy kind of approach, so a minute and a half on each side, and then set up for a nice long breath, which is going to include a little bit of yoga nidra. And not uncommon when we start to come towards the end of our practice, that the mind might start to switch back on. Or, you know, sometimes boredom might kick in, right? I hope you're enjoying your practice, but there's nothing wrong with sometimes being in a practice and being a bit like, But we know that we have the tools here. So our body, we could draw awareness to a part or area of our body. We could simply just remind ourselves in the mind with the word present or grounded, or maybe the phrase, be here now. Gently bring the gaze and the knees back to center. That little push down of the feet once more, slide in the bum over to the right as we let the knees drop to the left. And of course, we have the breath. So yoga, you know, and breath is very important within our practice, but it doesn't have to be the only anchor. So I guess what I'm trying to say is there have been times when I myself, and I know other people, have found breath as a really useful anchor. There are other times and other people who focusing on the breath, it just doesn't work. So if focusing on the breath really works for you, inhale, exhale, that sensation of expanse and relax, go there. If not, maybe it's a word or the mantra. Maybe it's the physical body. Even if you're just kind of saying to yourself, right, every time I get distracted, step one, awareness. I'm aware I've just got distracted. Step two, I'm going to bring my attention to the tip of my nose. Distraction comes in again a few moments later, tip of my nose. What am I experiencing there? and the knees to center. And from here, just spending a couple of moments doing anything else that you feel serves you here. So whether that's stretching, rolling, or getting yourself tucked in for Shavasana. If you prefer not to be on the back of the body, then you are more than welcome, of course, to lie on the side of the body. You might put the bolster in between the thighs or the knees instead. So really just starting to settle down. And you may be familiar with Yoga Nidra. If you're not, that's absolutely fine. So this is going to be a short segment, a stage, I guess, from Nidra, which is our body scan stage. So it can be quite beneficial for relaxation. It gives us a focus point. It's a journey around our body. Nothing that you need to do or think, anything like that. Just following the sound of my voice, and in your mind's eye, following the journey around your body. And you might, for example, invite each part or area of your body, as it's named, to rest or intense release. You might offer it a moment of appreciation, thanks, or acceptance. So take from it whatever you feel is good for you. And this practice will begin at the right big toe. So in your mind's eye, taking awareness to your right big toe. The second toe. Third toe, fourth and fifth toe. The sole of the right foot and the heel of the right foot. Top of the right foot, the inner and the outer ankles. The lower leg, the right kneecap and the back of the knee. The right thigh. The right buttock. The right hip. Down into the right groin space. The right waist. The right side body. The whole of that right leg. And then awareness comes to the left big toe. The second, third, fourth, and fifth toes. The sole of that left foot. Top of left foot, heel, ankles, lower left leg. Kneecap in the back of the knee. Left thigh. Buttock. Hip. Groin space. Left waist. Left side body. Whole of the left leg. The right and the left leg, just resting on the air or on your props, relaxing. Now carrying your awareness to the right thumb. The first, second, third, and fourth finger. Back of the hand, the palm of the hand, the right wrist, the lower arm, the elbow and the inner elbow, and the right upper arm, right shoulder, right armpit, right shoulder blade, scapula. Hold that right arm. And then we travel awareness to the left hand thumb. The first, second, third, and fourth finger. Back of the left hand, palm of the left hand, left wrist, lower arm, elbow and the inner elbow, left upper arm, shoulder, armpit, shoulder blade. The whole of that left arm. And both arms, wherever they may be resting, on body, on earth, relaxing. The right rib cage, the left rib cage. And then bringing our awareness to the very base of the spine as you see it in your mind's eye, or perhaps as you feel it in the body. Slowly guiding our attention all the way up to the middle of the back, the upper back, the very top of the spine and the back of the neck. The back of the head as it rests on the earth. The crown of the head around to the forehead. The space between the brows, ajna, this space of connection to self, to others, to universe. The right temple, the left temple. The right eyebrow and the left eyebrow. The right ear, the left ear. The right eye and the left eye. And the space of darkness behind the eyes. Or perhaps for you, there's colour, vision. The very tip of the nose. The right nostril, the left nostril. A moment of awareness as you breathe in through the nose. And breathe out through nose or through mouth. The right cheek and the left cheek. The upper lip, the lower lip. The tongue in the mouth. The gums. The lower teeth and the upper teeth. The moisture in the mouth. The chin, jawline, throat space. Across to the right collarbone, the left collarbone. Awareness of the upper chest. Down towards the mid-chest. Further down still towards the navel, abdomen. And perhaps an awareness here of the breath. So this inhale breath that evolves from the belly, rises up the body, and the exhale sinks back down. An awareness of the whole of the front of your body as you see it or as you feel or experience it. It softens. The whole of the back of your body as you experience it, feel, see it, as it softens. The sides of the body. Even the inner volume of the body, without overthinking, what does that feel like? How do you see that, the inner space of the body? And then the very outer space, the edges of the body. And as you relax and soften further, the edges become a little bit fuzzier. The four corners of the body as you see, feel, experience them. And starting to expand our awareness a little bit to the four corners of the mat. The corners of the space or the room that you're in. Again, we don't have to overthink. We're just expanding a little bit wider. The furthest sound that you can hear, no need to know what it is, no need to have any attachment to it at all, just its existence. And back to the sounds in your space, gentle music, sound of my voice, perhaps even the sound of your own breath. And in a moment, you'll start to hear the sound of the chimes. And there is no need to instantly move, to jump up, to feel that you have to start to prepare to leave Shavasana. Just continue to be guided by my voice. Beginning to bring a little bit of movement into the face. If it feels okay for you, you can gently just roll the head from side to side. Finding a center point for the head. Expand that awareness down the arms and into the tips of the fingers, giving them a wiggle. And slowly down into the legs and the tips of the toes. Perhaps you take a nice deep breath. And from here, moving as much or as little as feels welcome to you. You might have a little stretch. You've got plenty of time. You might have a little roll around. So there's no rush. Really normal and usual if you feel a little bit tired or a bit kind of zoned out. So just honor that. And when you feel ready to, just lull yourself over onto the side of your body. So I often say right is active side, left is passive, but you go with whatever side you feel best. And we're going to spend just a little moment snuggled up here as we come back to that practice of simply noticing. So notice how the body feels or anything specific that you're drawn to. And at this point, you may just be relaxed. And it's like, oh, I don't know, I can't really notice anything. And that's fine too. How's the mind? What do you notice there? Savouring, if we can, these last few minutes of our practice, trying not to let our mind steal them away. And notice the breath. And really slowly starting to press your way into the earth, pushing yourself up, just turning back towards me. Find a comfortable position, whatever that means for you. So take your time. Once you get there, if you feel that you need to have a little wiggle and stretch, that's more than okay. Sitting nice and tall as we breathe in and breathing out. And an invitation to join the palms together at heart space. So often called Anjali Mudra, sometimes called Namaskar. So this is a seal of energy, and in itself is a seal of yin and yang, or the meeting of polarities. And the other way that we seal our practice is with the chant of Om. So Om is the universal sound. And don't feel that you have to Om. You could or you could just listen. So in a moment, we take a breath in to prepare. And as we breathe out, we Om. So breathing in. Inhale, sit nice and tall. And exhale, gently drop the chin to the chest as you bow to the heart space. So thanking yourself, body, breath, mind, spirit or soul, if that's your belief. Bowing to each other, our Sangha, our community. And I bow to you. Thank you for trusting me to guide you. Have a beautiful weekend. Be light and dark in me honors the light and dark within you. Namaste. Thank you. So no rush actually